Hi, welcome to the first of a number of videos where we are looking at the functions available in the ivotools library, which you can import into your Python programs just as you do with some of the inbuilt Python libraries, such as math and the random library, of course. Now, guys, you need to make sure that ivotools.py, which is the ivotools file, is in the same folder as the Python program you are writing if you want to make use of the library, and you will find this library and the other libraries I've written for you guys in the Schoology Python monster folder. If you can't find that, ask your teacher, ask me, we will point you in the right direction. So of course I will continue to update the ivotools library with new and useful functions as the need arises, and then produce additional videos in the playlist. So guys, if you have a look at the slide, you can get a feel for the features of randcol, which is the focus of this video in particular. So pause the video, guys, if you wish to do that. Okay, so let's have a quick mention of random numbers in general, guys. So as you know, we have a random number generator in Python that provides us with a single random number, and it does that very well. But actually, in many cases when we're writing programs, it's very useful to be able to put our random numbers into a list and to populate a list with random numbers. Now, Python does actually have a feature called the sample function to do something like that, but it's not particularly flexible, guys, and it's quite limited. So we would really like to have something a little bit more powerful where we can customize the lists that we want to produce. And if you have a look at the lists on this slide, guys, which have been produced, all of them have been produced using the randcol function, guys, you can get a feel for the type of flexibility and power that this function provides for you. So the first list is a set of random integers, but it's not sorted, it's an unsorted list. You will notice, guys, that not only are they all randomly generated, but they're all unique as well. So we have specified here that we want the list to be a unique list of numbers where there aren't any duplicates that have been produced in generating those random numbers. The second is another list of random integers, guys, but this time it's a sorted list. So on this occasion we specified or customized our list so that it is sorted. The third list is a shorter list of decimal numbers, so we shortened the number of items we want in the list that randcol produces, and the number of decimal places, guys, is 2 decimal places. The list is sorted, okay, and it's a smaller list. Now if you have a look at the last list, guys, it's even smaller, but on this occasion the list is unsorted, and it's to 4 decimal places. So you can get a sense, guys, that we've got a lot of flexibility and a lot of scope to customize the list that we get back from the function. So I'm sure you can appreciate by now, guys, that writing all of the code to generate all of those different types of options would take you a very long time. You could certainly do that, guys, but I know that you don't have the time to be doing that in your computer science course, and for your practical programming project, guys, you don't need to worry now because all of it has been done for you. You just need to be able to call and use the functions, and it's all done for you. So finally, guys, before we do some demos, there are other functions in ivotools which I will go through in other videos, but you can use those various functions together as well, because a lot of them are about generating a slightly more effective view of random numbers. So for example, you can generate a list of random numbers and using randcol, and then you can use the shuffle function, which is also available within ivotools, to shuffle those numbers that you've generated, guys, and shuffle will actually reorder those numbers randomly. Okay, so you might find that useful, particularly if you're doing something like simulating a game of chance, like a game of cards, for example, where you may want to shuffle, okay, the equivalent of your deck of cards, or whatever the context might be. Okay, guys, so let's crack on and do some Python demos of the randcol function. Okay, guys, here we are in PyCharm. I've started this off with some stuff which I will explain to you very soon on the screen. Obviously, guys, you'll recognize this straight away. You can see here that in order to use the ivotools library, I've simply imported it. You'll know, guys, from your experience that there are different syntax that we can use to import either the entire library of functions or a specific library. On this occasion, guys, you can see obviously that I have chosen just to import the single function called randcol on this particular occasion. All right, so you will recognize that straight away. Now this, guys, this might look a little bit weird to you. It's commented out because it's not actually a feature of the program, but all of this stuff here will make sense to you very, very quickly, guys. Okay, and in actual fact, a lot of the functions that you use in Python libraries have this type of facility, which I will explain in a second, where essentially you have optional parameters that you can choose to use or not use. And if you don't make use of them, guys, there are Python defaults, or I should say randcol defaults in the program that it uses instead. Okay, all of this will become clear in a second. Right, so let's just have a look at our first example, guys. So what I'm going to do is, I'm at the expense of losing some of the comments off the screen, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, and you can see here that you'll recognize this, the type of syntax straight away, guys. I have assigned, or I will be assigning, to the variable rand list, which will be a list data structure, the results of calling the randcol function. Okay, so I need to explain to you what these three parameters are in the bracket. Okay, and you can see actually, guys, that they're set or they are also defined up here in this top bit of commenting as well. So guys, basically the first parameter that we put in the bracket, which is required, guys, these three parameters you must put in, they're not optional. Okay, this 10, guys, is the size of the list. This is saying that we want randcol to provide for us a list with 10 numbers. Okay, and the other two numbers, guys, and the other two parameters basically specify the range. Okay, so the 1 and the 40 specify the range. What that basically means is that in our list of random numbers, each of those numbers provided for us will be in the range of 1 to 40 inclusive. All right, so it's basically the lower and upper limit of each of the numbers that we will get back. And I will talk to you a little bit, guys, later on about some of the things we need to do to make sure we have a sufficient range to be able to fill up or populate a list. Okay, but more on that a little bit later. Okay, so guys, the size of the list followed by the range of each of the numbers that we want randomly generated. Now I've run this already, and what I want to show you guys here, if I just zoom into the output, just move this across, this is the results we get, guys. You can see that we do have 10 numbers, but you will notice straight away we have integers, of course, but you'll notice straight away, guys, that we have two occurrences of 38. All right, one there and one there, and that's because we haven't specified to randcol that we want it to provide unique numbers, because the default is not unique numbers, it's allowing duplicates. And you'll also notice, guys, as well, that that list is unsorted. All right, which basically means unless we do a little bit of tweaking and customizing, we will always get back a list of integers where possibly we have duplicates, and the list will not be sorted. And that may well be sufficient for your needs, guys. Okay, that might well be all that you need. So let's do a little bit of customizing and tweaking, right, to define a little bit more of what we want. Okay, so let's just get rid of those boxes. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to specify that I want our numbers to be unique. I don't want any duplicates. Okay, so now, guys, if I just zoom out a little bit, okay, so you can see the comments at the top. All right, notice this, guys, where it says unique equals false. Now all I need to do is to use that parameter style, okay, and I'm going to put unique equals true, and that resets the default flag to force randcol now to give me only unique numbers. So let's run it again, okay, and see if we can make sure that that's true. All right, so let's just run this. Okay, so now I'm getting back a same type of thing that I got before, guys. So I've got my 10 numbers. All of those numbers are within the range of 1 to 40 inclusive, but you will see, guys, in there that there are no duplicate values. Okay, we have unique values. What might be useful actually is to sort that list into numeric order. Okay, and the way to do that, guys, you probably guessed this already because it's very simple once you get the hang of it. All right, is I just type in there toSort, okay, which is the name of the parameter that you can see just about on the screen, guys, and I want to set toSort equals true. All right, so I basically am customizing the flag, guys. I suppose it's a little bit like customizing a personal profile where you choose your own settings over and above the defaults that you're given. Okay, same type of thing, really. So I've now specified two parameters, unique equals true and to sort equals true as well. All right, so let's run it and see if we get a sorted list. And there you go, guys. You can see that our list is of integers. We've got 10 of them. They're in numeric order from smallest to largest, and there are no duplicates, guys, in that list. Okay. If you're wondering why we have 34, 5, 6, 7, and 9, guys, that is because we haven't given ourselves very much of a range here, and I will talk a little bit about a suitable range a little bit later on, guys. Okay. Right, so I'm sure you're getting the hang of this now, because all of our customizing options, guys, we simply just type in the parameter name and change the default to whatever we need. Now, the other one that I haven't mentioned is changing R type from list to tuple. I'm not going to do that, guys, to be honest, because I popped tuple in when I wrote the code. Out of completeness, really, more than anything else, because I'm not expecting you to have any motivation at all to use tuples, guys. They really aren't going to be of much use to you. They are for a specialized type of programming, really, and both myself, guys, and you really don't have any need to use them. I don't use tuples either. So I'm going to leave tuples, guys. You can play with that if you want to have a go. Now, the other default values, guys, here, which we can change, are really to do with decimal numbers rather than integers. So let's change this, okay, from we'll change it, guys, from integer, which is the default, to float. So all I need to do, guys, is to change d type, okay, and this time I guess you probably guessed that the alternative string that we need to put in there is float. Okay, so if we run it this time, okay, we will now see that we will get a list of decimal numbers, guys. All right, why is it to 2 decimal places? Well, the default, guys, you can see here, okay, by default a randcol will automatically choose for you 2 decimal places. Okay, so that's the default setting. Now, I'm not too worried about range here, guys, okay, or whether we've got unique numbers at the moment, because the chances of us generating 2 decimal numbers to 2 decimal places is pretty remote. I mean, I guess it might happen for a larger list. If I want to make doubly sure, guys, okay, I can do what I did before. So I can simply type in here unique equals true, and whilst I'm at it, let's sort it as well. Okay, so to sort also equals true, guys. All right, so let's run this now, and you will see that I get back, okay, a sorted list, guys, okay, which is in numeric order from smallest to largest, and you will see, guys, that there are no duplicate values in those list of random numbers. Okay, right, so what else can I do with this, guys? Well, one thing I could do, of course, is to change the decimal places from 2, let's say, to 4. Okay, and I'm actually going to change the length of this, guys, because it's going to go off the recording screen because the numbers are going to be quite long. So I'm going to change it to 5. Okay, so I'm going to have a list that's 5 numbers in total, and what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to pop in here. Doesn't matter where you pop these parameters, guys, by the way. I'm going to pop in dp equals 2. Okay, excuse me, guys. So sorry, dp equals 4, isn't it? I want, not dp equals 2. So let's run that then. Okay, and guys, you can see, right, that I do actually have 5 random numbers, guys. They are decimal numbers, and they are all to 4 decimal places, all within the range of 1 to 40 inclusive. Okay, right, guys, so that's basically it. It's as simple as that. If you are unsure, guys, and you're using randcol and you can't remember what the parameters are, then all you need to do, guys, is just to open up ivotools, okay, and all you need to do is to go to the top of where randcol is defined, okay, because it's just a Python program, guys, that's been made available to you. And obviously, guys, here you can spot straight away that all of the parameters are listed. All right, you can see the defaults here at the top, okay, which is basically where I copied in for the comments in my program, and it tells you what all of those parameters are used for, guys. Okay, now, guys, once you've imported once you've copied ivotools, you can actually play with this if you want to. All right, and you can use it as an example of Python coding for your own learning if you wish, because of course you can always copy a fresh copy from Schoology folders. So guys, you can play with this. Of course, your program might not work initially, but you're welcome, guys, of course, to change this. It's not protected code or anything like that. Okay, so do investigate and explore if you want to do that. Okay guys, so the other thing that I wanted to mention before we finish with this demo is making sure that you have a sufficient range in order to fill up a populated list. Okay, now what I mean by that is it's not so bad with random float values, guys, okay, because the randomness includes the values of the decimals as well. But with integers, guys, it can be a little bit more tricky. All right, so to give you an example, let's supposing I wanted a list which was 20 items long, okay, but the range that I'm going to specify is from 1 to 2. Now that's really daft, okay, because I'm not going to get a list of 20 unique numbers when the range is only 1 or 2. Okay, as soon as it's filled up 1 and 2, guys, there are no more unique numbers to populate the list with. So by default, guys, what randcol does when I wrote the program, it essentially just ignores the fact that you've asked for unique. So actually I need to put in unique there as well, don't I, guys, because it doesn't matter if it's not unique. I just get a silly list of loads of duplicate values. So if I actually specify or try to specify I want unique in there, if I run the program now, guys, okay, all that happens is basically randcol will just ignore the unique flag, guys, okay, and it will just give you back a list with duplicate values in, because it's a convenient way of preventing lots of validation, error checking, and potentially the program crashing or going into a hugely long loop or an infinite loop, guys, okay. So just be aware of that, guys. If you want to make sure you do have random numbers in a long list, you need to specify a large range. So for a list of 20, okay, I would probably specify at least, let's say 150, guys, okay, and that would make sure that I'm not struggling to get unique numbers in my list, guys, okay. Right, so that brings me to the end of the demo. As was mentioned earlier, guys, in terms of usage, don't forget that you can use this in your day-to-day programming rather than hard coding in a list of numbers you randomly choose yourself. You can simply import this, guys, and get randcol to generate any list of numbers for you that you might want to use in any program where you're using integers or floats. It's also useful to use if you are testing a program with numeric values, guys, for your practical programming project. You can actually use this feature to test your own code with random numbers, if that's appropriate. And the other thing I alluded to earlier, guys, as well, is if you are playing something like or coding a simulation of a game of chance, like a game of cards, for example, guys, then you may want to select all of your unique random items in advance, guys, and use the list a bit like a hand of cards, you know, that's been dealt to a virtual user of your card game, for example. All right, and as I mentioned earlier, guys, there are other useful functions as well, like shuffle, where you can shuffle a randomly generated list of items as well. Okay, so that's it, guys. I hope this was useful for you, and I will see you in a future video where we will look at some of the other functions available in Ivo Tools.